When was the last time you said yes to something that scared you and then saw God show up in it? The Lord appeared to Jeremiah and said, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you to be a prophet of the nations." Even though the Lord was right in Jeremiah's face, Jeremiah still was taken aback, and he was like, "God, I'm just a kid. Like, I can't talk. How am I going to be a prophet?" To quote the exact verse, he says, "I do not know how to speak, for I'm only a youth." But of course the Lord responded with, "Do not say I am only a youth, for to all to whom I send you, you shall go. And whatever I command you, you shall speak. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you to deliver you. I have put my words in your mouth. I have set you this day over nations and over kingdoms." God doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called. I know sometimes I feel inadequate because I'll feel like God's telling me to do something or go up to somebody or talk to somebody or whatever, and I'm like, am I really thinking that? You know, I tend to second guess myself and tend to kind of let my mind run everywhere, because sometimes it's hard for me to decipher what is from the world and what is from God, but not in the sense of like not abiding by the truth. It's just, I know that my anxiety sometimes will make me second guess things that are clearly from God. And like thinking back, there's been times where it's very clear, like I was listening to God's voice, but at the same time I was like, is that really him? Like, I don't really know. But I did know. It was just the chemicals in my brain that made me anxious. It's always been easy for me to be like, oh, God, there's so many other worthy and more equipped people out there to do what you're asking me to do. Like, why me? Like, I'm not good enough. And kind of in this like self-deprecating sort of cycle. But that is not from God. You know, you are fearfully and wonderfully made in his image, and he's not gonna tear you down. He's not gonna lead you to something just to be like, haha, you suck. Like, he's not gonna do that. That's not the loving God that we serve. And sometimes I talk to God and I'm like, God, it would just be so much easier if you were just right here and you could tell me exactly what to do. But look at Jeremiah. God spoke to him directly, and he was still like, I don't know, God. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm the right guy. But God appointed you for a reason. God appointed Jeremiah because he knew what he was capable of when he was relying on God. He knew that Jeremiah was exactly what he needed for that exact mission that Jeremiah was supposed to go on, that exact path that he was supposed to go down. God knew. God knows everything. You know, he's way ahead of us. He's years and years and years ahead of us. He knows our entire lives. So even though he's calling you to do something right now and you don't feel equipped, Creator of the universe is telling you that you're ready. Creator of the universe is telling you that you are equipped enough to be able to start, you know? And just because you're thinking, oh, well, I don't have this yet, or I'm not this yet, or I haven't accomplished this, that, or the other, but God's still calling you to do it, you will learn and you will grow as you go on this journey with him. Just continue to talk to him and rely on him, and he's going to guide you exactly where you need to be. He's appointed you because he knows what you're capable of doing with him. You have the heart, you have the desire, you have the skills, you have the community, whatever it is, just relinquish your desire for control over the situation. He's the one that knows better anyway. We're here and we're sinful people, and we get distracted by the world and distracted by our own desires and our own temptations and people around us and just everything, all this noise that's not from God. But yet the one that knows us more deeply than anybody ever will, when he tells us to do something, who are we to doubt his sovereignty? Who are we to doubt his provision? Do we really think that we know better than God? Of course we don't think that we're better than God. Of course we don't think we know better than him, but sometimes our thoughts think otherwise. You know, if we're like, okay, God, I feel like you're leading me to quit this job. But then you're like, but then I won't have money. Like, is this really the right time? Is this really the right place? Like, what if I'm just overthinking that? But like, you know that it's from God and you keep getting that confirmation from him that that is the path that you need to go on. Why wouldn't he provide for you? It might not look exactly how you're expecting it to or how you want it to, but the Lord will guide you through it. His provision is above all else. Isaiah 30:21 says, Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Proverbs 28:18 says, "Plans are established by seeking advice, so if you wage war, obtain guidance." And Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." God is going to guide you. We just need to actually rely on him and actually listen to him and pray that he softens our heart and pray that we actually do follow him and that our desires start to line up with his will and with his plan and everything. Do our current plans align with God's? Why is it that we want certain things? Why do we fight against God's design? My life looks completely different than what I thought it was going to look like years ago. But if I wouldn't have listened to God, I wouldn't have allowed him to lead my life, I don't even want to know what my life would look like. I'm glad that he didn't let me take control, because I can tell you that would have been a mess. And it's like, in the moment, sometimes we do think that we know what's best, and we have this idea, this perfectly carved plan that we have in our hearts, and we're like, this is exactly what I want, and if I don't get it, life sucks. You know, I'm exaggerating a little bit with the wording there, but sometimes it feels like that. Or it's like I have this perfectly polished dream in my brain, and if I don't get to that, like, what am I? Who am I? But God leads you through things for different reasons. You know, God is right there with you when you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and he's up there in the highest of mountains with you too, and everything is intentional and everything is for a reason. We don't even know the extent of his plan, and we don't know like what everything that we go through is actually affecting and who it's affecting and who might be led to Christ because of it, or who we might meet, or how we might change, how God might mold us through certain things. We won't even know the half of it, I'm sure, throughout our lives. But God does. God knows his exact intent behind every single choice that he's made for our lives. He crafted our lives exactly how he wants to, because he's fully in control. He's given us that free will to be able to make these decisions, but ultimately he knows the decisions that we're going to make, and he knows the good that can come from it. Even if it's a really bad thing that's happening to us, or a really bad decision, whatever it is, eventually it will be for his glory. Even if we can't see it right now, and it just seems hopeless, and it seems like we just, how can that be good? How can we confine God into just a little box? Like, how can we put a limit on what he can do? Like saying, God, this situation is awful, and it's the worst possible thing that can happen to anybody. You can't make this any better. Nothing good will come from this. Why are we constricting God like that, you know? And that's not to say situations can't be bad, terrible, devastating even, but God can still bring good from them. And that doesn't change the gravity of the situation. God weeps with you. He mourns with you. He's there for you to have a shoulder to cry on. He wants you to lean on him and wants you to open up to him about all of these things. He's there with us. But who knows, maybe years down the road, your story will affect somebody that will lead them to Christ, or will have them have some hope in the situation that they're going through. Like, we don't know the extent of what our stories will do for others and what our stories will do for expanding his kingdom. We just have such a short time on this side of eternity, and our entire purpose here is to know him better, glorify him, and bring others into his family, share the gospel with other people. So why would we want to waste this time that we do have in this beautiful world that God has given us? Why would we want to waste that time going on our own agenda when we know that God has all of the right decisions, and we know that God knows what's best, and we know that if we listen to God, he's going to lead us exactly where he's planning on leading us. We're going to have a sound mind and a sound heart, even more so if we do choose to rely on him, and if we do relinquish that control. God will give us peace that surpasses all understanding. It's natural to feel a bit fearful of the unknown. It's natural to feel a little unsettled with being like, okay, God, I guess you can have everything. Like, take it. It goes against our flesh. It goes against what we as people want. So it's completely natural to feel a little opposition to that within yourself. Because as followers of Christ, we're not obeying our worldly bodies. We are obeying God, who is not of this world. He's the creator of it. It's natural to be fearful of the unknown because we don't know what life looks like tomorrow or in 3 weeks from now, 30 years from now. We don't know what that's going to look like, but we can get that comfort from learning to fully rely on God and fully relinquishing that desire for control. Yes, we don't know what life is going to look like, but we know one thing, and we know that the Lord is steadfast, and we know that his provision will surpass anything that we can go through, anything that we can feel. God's sovereignty is so much bigger than everything. God is so much bigger than the situation you're going through. He's so much bigger than your insecurities. He's so much bigger than your doubts and with your feelings and anything that you're going through. God has got it. God is so much bigger than that. I mean, God knows best. God might lead you down a path that you never would have expected. God might lead you to the other side of the world. God might lead you to start a church. He's going to lead you to places that are outside of your comfort zone because he knows what's best for you and because he knows what's best for the kingdom and he knows where he's going with this. He can see the end result of this beautiful masterpiece that he's creating out of your life. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." Our certain hobbies and communities and skills, talents, all of that is unique to ourselves. God has put us there for a reason, and he uses that to further his kingdom. You're exactly where you need to be. God will show you that next step that you need to take. Don't wait until you feel worthy. Obedience is the starting point, not perfection. I pray that the Lord softens your heart, and I pray that the Lord leads you in the right direction and gets you to exactly where you need to be. God bless y'all.